This show was pre-recorded and edited for our listening audience.
Did you guys know that relationships are not always planned? They just happen? Yeah.
Yes.
Everything inside of it.
You know what? 'Cause you have to think about it. You have to think about it for a minute. It's like, okay, you're right. I guess you don't plan a relationship. It does just happen. And I think that's what really gets everybody in a frenzy about, relationships, is because it just happens and it takes off, and you're going through this infatuation where, you can't get enough of that person, and you just, oh my goodness, everything that they do is just so great, and you're really getting to know one another. Everything's all interesting, and that's what you can say about
love.
This month we're exploring love, and I want to walk you through some of these stages that we're all experiencing. Different phases of stages of love. And I definitely want to at least have someone answer my question. What is love? I think that's the most important part of this whole conversation, is to really define what is love.
Well, to answer your question, Nicole, love is patient. It is kind. Love does not envy or boast. It's not arrogant or rude. It does not insist of its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice at wrongdoing, but rejoices with the truth. Love bears all, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never ends. As for prophecies, they will pass away. As for tongues, they will cease. As for knowledge, it will pass away. But love never ends. And you can find that at 1 Corinthians 13:4-5. Now, let's go, ladies. Let's talk about it.
We all know some of the phases like infatuation, love, courtship, marriage. This is how love progresses. But, we're all in love with something or someone, because it affects every aspect of our life anyway. It's supposed to, as God says so in the Bible. We're all immersed in our feelings and don't really care about what stage which we're in. It's just the euphoria of the idea of relationship and love. The intensity of the love varies depending on whether you've just fallen in love or been married for 20, 25 years. And that's how the stages are really built.
And love doesn't look the same, so I can understand why, it does not look the same. So, a feeling of love here may be something different from somebody else,
That's so true.
And I guess that moves you to the challenge stage, When you're in a relationship, it's all good, you're infatuated, and you're getting to know one another, you get to learn about the exes, and then the challenge comes, right?
Absolutely.
When disappointment sets in, when they do certain things, or when life throws a challenge and you see them in a different light, you become uncomfortable, annoyed with your partner, habits and needs, get on your nerves. So both partners try to change each other's behavior, and I think that's when it all gets real.
Absolutely.
That's true. So true.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's when the problem sets in, because first of all, a lot of us, I've said it a lot of times before, that we come into the relationship broken. And you don't see those things in your infatuation stage. But after a while, eventually you see those bad habits that comes up. You see those things that, that are generational. And so you have to deal with those things. So that's where the challenge comes in at.
You're so correct, because I was just about to say that. Exactly what Nicole and you just said, Joan, the challenge stage.
It's getting hot in here. It's a love thing. Making me nervous.
You know what? A lot of today's time, individuals don't want the challenge.
No.
This microwave type of relationship, where it's that if I have a challenge, I'm leaving, or I'm going to cheat on you and be with someone else until you work it out or we work it out, and that's just not the way life goes.
And what it is, Joan, is that they don't want to struggle anymore in a relationship. They don't want to feel uncomfortable. They want that good feeling all the time. And I think people, they get in these relationships, and if they're not feeling that, that happiness, and you gotta be on one level all the time, and once your situation changes, they not really willing to step in and go through that struggle with you.
Absolutely. And what about the person that's looking to find the happiness in their mate? They expect their partner to actually make them happy because they're not happy with themselves. You know, those type of relationships never really work.
No, they do not.
They never really work.
And we know why. Because if you can't believe in yourself, how are you going to believe in someone else?
Let me just add that this is a stage you accept and surrender to the reality of your relationship with all its strengths and shortcomings. You love and you trust each other, accepting all the good and the bad. If you don't discuss that before you get married, then you'll bring it into your marriage and you'll find yourself duplicating the same thing before you got married. So you need to sit down and talk about what type of commitments that you expect from one another, what you want to happen in a relationship.
True.
You know, and I believe in honesty. You know, I want, you know, if you're going to be committed to me, we got to be honest with one another. Tell me how you really feel when you see me in the morning. Is there something I need to change? You know? It could be. I mean, you know, because sometimes it get real. And
you know, everyone has their sense of what commitment looks like. You have to make everything clear today. You have to be very specific. There are times that when you can commit to a person, but you just stop committing. But guess what? Your partner doesn't realize that.
Okay.
So you over there doing what you want to do, and your partner's still living off the old commitment.
But, you know, and it goes back to what we all started, you know, earlier in the show with the infatuation part. Because when you get to losing track, you lose track in between the infatuation gets to moving, it gets accelerated up and amped up from the accommodating. You're accommodating tomfoolery, my favorite word. You know, you're accommodating foolery and understanding it as love. And then, you know, and then you start accepting these different type of things that nowhere down the road that you discuss because you fell short of understanding the expectations that you desired beginning in the relationship. So, you know, commitment gets lost off in there because I was in a relationship such as that, and it made me feel like I was a fool because I'm a very intelligent woman and I missed it. But people can drive you so fast, you can miss your stop. You know, you can you can
get off. Huh?
You have to get off. Say this is not the ride, because by the time you read it, you would think you have received destination commitment conversation somewhere up in there. But you lost way up in there, accommodating his foolishness, accepting his foolishness, and this could not possibly be love. So we way right back in the infatuation part. He likes me to an extent, but you know, we missing the commitment part because we thinking he liked enough of us for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, because people can, you know, be deceived like that, you know. So we just can't miss the mark with a lot of these things. The accommodating, the infatuation, the commitment. We need to know where what destination we really want to land at in this thing. Because like Joan say, hey, get to ask where we're at, what we're doing.
And I think that's what happens in a lot of relationships is people don't really come into the relationship and say, okay, so what is it that you wanting out of a relationship, or where do you see yourself in this relationship 5 years from now? You know, people don't talk. I guess you know, we just dating, we just getting started, and you go,
all that's too serious for me.
Happening in the commitment and all this.
That's too serious.
Well,
I said I like this. Right. I said I like it.